on the book club page today is what an appropriate time to talk about the importance of hydration when it's been so hot. I have trouble getting my water in, but not in the summertime.
Not in the summertime, exactly. And I mean, it's so important, getting proper hydration this time of year, especially if you're someone like myself who works outside. There's a guy that I know who does landscaping work. He's in the hospital right now. Kidneys and his liver are both shutting down. I thought he knew. He's been working in the landscape business for over 10 years. But what we have to do, 5 bottles of water tonight to get ready for tomorrow. Because if I don't, I'm so far behind that I really can't catch up. So,
do y'all have to also Gatorade Zero a little bit for your electrolytes?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would imagine so.
Yeah, well, we're going to dive into here very briefly, but Element 10 tonight. Welcome to Thursday nights. We got a small group tonight, but that doesn't mean that we're still not here and we're still not engaged and ready to go. And this is probably one of the most important ones to have. The easiest. And the easiest.
It doesn't have to, being healthy and losing weight and keeping the weight off and feeling good. It doesn't, I think we think it has to be complicated, but how about 64 ounces of water a day? Of course, more if you're outside. And I know Kenny's like, Allison, that is bare minimum. And really we should be doing, is it half our body weight? Is that what you said? Yeah. So
half your body weight in ounces. So for example, if you're 200 pounds, you need to get at least 100 ounces in every day. If you are 300 pounds, we're going to tweak that number just a little bit. We may start you at 120, but we want to get you up somewhere close to half your body weight, because as you shrink, that number will contract.
With you. Yeah.
But I think one thing that's important for even those who are watching the recording, and if let's say you come into this plan at 150 pounds, you need to get at least 80 ounces of water in. Don't just say, well, it says 64 and that's all you're going to do. Be an overachiever in this area, because you really need to do this more than anything else. And so with that said, Element 10, the key role of hydration and reaching a healthy weight. Of course, just like every week, mindset, skill set, and action, of course. Our mindset is discover some of the important factors to pay attention to while you are reaching your healthy weight. Realize the importance of water on your journey to optimal health. The skill set is identify the best ways to hydrate during weight loss. And then, of course, the action is provide you with the tools to plan and track your hydration as it develops into another habit of health. So, Allie, I'll let you jump in and we'll go back and forth as we normally do.
All right. So I know we just think about water as a drink and not the most exciting drink in the whole world. It doesn't, I will say, if you've been in this program a little while, you start to learn that water does actually have taste to it, and you'll find that there's a water that you prefer to drink. So for example, I like water that has a little minerals in it. It has a taste to it, and I think it's because our farm is on a well, and so I'm used to tasting that. And so when I drink water that doesn't have that in there, I don't like it. It doesn't taste right. It's very bland. So it's interesting to see that, you think, oh, water doesn't have any taste. It's just water, but it actually does. It does have, depending on, the minerals that are in it, it does have taste. So this is what I love. Dr. Anderson has a wonderful list on page 205 in the Life Book about what water brings to the table, as far as it's not just about hydrating your body. It does a lot of great things for us that are super helpful when we're trying to get our weight, especially back to where a good place for us to operate and feel great on a daily basis and not overtax our body. So it's calorie free. We love that, but it helps keep you full and satisfied. It keeps you from overeating. So one of the things I tell my clients when they first start is I say, hey, if you're on the 5 and 1, you're going to eat 5 fuelings and 1 lean and green a day. And I tell them every time you have a fueling, drink 8 ounces of water with it, especially for my people who are like me, who didn't drink any water or hardly any water at all. It's a great way to start that habit. So, getting that 8 ounces with every fueling, all of a sudden that's 6 of the 8 8-ounce glasses that would be the minimum for the day. So it just gets you in that habit. The other part of it is, the beautiful thing about the fuelings is we're eating smaller, more frequent meals. So our stomach's going to shrink. It's like natural portion controls being created, but we're not there when we first start. So drinking water with our fuelings helps give us that full and satiated feeling, which is really great. So you adjust a lot faster when you do that. Studies have shown that when we feel hungry, 30% of that time, it's actually that we're thirsty, but we just don't realize it. So Kenny always says, he's so good about this. He's like, hey, if you think you're hungry, it's not really time for your fueling yet. Maybe you ought to go drink some water, wait a minute, and see if you're still hungry. And, especially if we're drinking half our body weight a day, and you'll get used to it and your body will crave it. And so it does become that a lot of times it's just you need a drink of water. It facilitates the removal of toxins such as pesticides and preservatives from your cells. We have so many of those things in our environment. How beautiful that when we're just drinking and drinking water, it's just flushing all those things through all the time. They're not parking it in our body. It's moving through, right? So that's a beautiful gift. It prevents dehydration as your body eliminates excess salt and water from a diet of too much processed food. Now, as we move forwards, we're not going to have a lot of processed food, but you feel the difference after 1 week of drinking the right amount of water every day, because it really does move those things on and out of your body. And Kenny, isn't that a big part of why we see a bigger weight loss that first week? It's very much tied to, that wonderful hydration that we're getting and things getting flushed through and flushed out. And then our body adjusts to that greater amount of water every week.
Absolutely. And I mean, one of the big things is, and we've talked about this before, just remember 1 gram of sugar holds 3 grams of water. So when you're getting yourself into fat burn, your body's burning off that stored up glycogen that's in your cells, or in layman's terms, the stored up sugar. So not only are you burning off the stored up sugar in your cells, 1 gram of sugar holds 3 grams of water. So you're burning 4 grams of product at a time. So
and water is heavy, it's dense, it's a lot heavier than fat. So as it processes that stuff out, you will see a big drop in weight a lot of times that first week because of that.
Yeah. And I love what he says on page 204. And I talked about this when we first started.
Oh, yeah, I hate this one.
Of course, it's essential to your kidney's ability to filter and eliminate metabolic byproducts and toxins. If you don't drink enough, your body is forced to recycle dirty water, diminishing the efficiency of every metabolic function. So that's the reason that this young man's in the hospital right now with kidney and liver issues. And also what's happening is his musculoskeleton is starting to diminish because of being so severely dehydrated. So of course they're pumping him full of electrolytes and fluids, but it just goes back to you whenever you think when you think you're full and satisfied as far as water, drink some more, especially this time of the year.
Yes. Another thing water does, keeping topped off on that hydration, is it eliminates fatigue, lack of energy, headaches. If you've got a headache, sometimes you just need to get some more water in your system. Unclear thinking too, it helps with that. Again, flushes those toxins out, flushes that sugar out. It speeds up your metabolism. A recent study showed that drinking 2 8-ounce glasses of cold water increased metabolic rate by 30% for 90 minutes. Now, I love ice water, so I'm like, woohoo, bonus. It helps your liver convert fat to energy. So the water is very much part of that chemical reaction that occurs when the metabolism metabolizes those stored fats. So the more water you have on board, the more your metabolism is ready. It's got everything it needs to pull from those stored fats and process them into energy. And it compensates for the loss of glycogen stores as you lose weight, which is what Kenny was talking about, which is where, because people will say, well, I know the first week it's just water weight. Well, but you need that sounds weird. I mean, that doesn't, when I was like, what do you mean it's just water weight? And all of a sudden you quit losing water. No, it means all of that water and stuff and liquid that you're holding because of the glycogen stores. And once those process out, that makes a big difference. And then what you're seeing on the scale when you're losing weight is the fat processing out, right? Fat is a lot denser. It doesn't weigh as much, and that's why when you lose, if you were to say, oh, I only lost 10 pounds, if you were to plop 10 pounds of fat on a table, you'd be like, holy cow, that's a lot of fat. And you think about that all inside your body, it's pretty amazing. We know that proper hydration is critical for long-term optimal health and well-being. It affects not just our physiology, but also our ability to think. And it allows our mind to function at the highest level. So, something as simple as drinking water, you guys, it has so many incredible effects on our health. Truth moment, Allison does not do this easily. This has been one of the hardest elements for me to master. And it's because when I started this program, I literally did not drink any water at all. I drank any other liquid but water. And funny thing is, when I started this program, I'm like, yeah, I'll get all that water in, then I'll drink the stuff I want to drink. There's no room for me. Maybe I'm just not a thirsty person, but when I get all this water in, I don't even want to drink those other things anymore. Occasionally I'll have an unsweet tea, but really I am amazed and shocked still that water is sufficient, So that was a funny moment, but I want you to know, if you're struggling with water consumption, just have a goal, work up to it, track it, but also track how you feel on the days when you do well. And that will help inspire you to really aim high for getting that water in. And, I just keep it. I don't like having to do lots of little cups. It's too much for this brain. So I have this one, my sister-in-law is a nurse and she got it from the hospital. And I think it holds all the way full. It holds about 30 ounces. So I know if I drink 3 of these a day, I'm good. And that's easy for me to remember. But find a water bottle that excites you, that you love, that gets you inspired. That's one that you can take from your desk to plop it in your car when you go run errands. Like make it something that's versatile, that helps you be inspired. If you go on Optimal Awakenings, there are all kinds of cool water bottles that have funny things as you drink through your day that can help keep you inspired. And trying to think what else I want to say here. You want to drink extra when you exercise. You want to drink extra when you're working outside and doing anything outside in this heat. One of Kenny's many things that he does is work outside during the day. I'm on a farm. Kenny has horses. I have horses. We're outside a lot. And so I do find myself drinking lots of water every day. Dr. Anderson on page 209 talks really briefly about what liquids count in the healthy hydration category. Purified water, bottled water, RO water. Do you want to talk about what that is, Kenny, real quick?
So RO water is basically water that it's been run through a high pressure filter. So it removes out all the salts and the minerals. So for example, when you go to the car wash and you get the spot-free rinse, that is RO water. I know that Aquafina water is also RO water. So it's been run through they pressurize it and run it through a high pressure filter so that the water that you actually get in your bottle doesn't contain all the minerals and the salts and so forth. So that's basically what it is. Before you go further, there's one thing I do want to bring to light. He talks about this on page 205. He says, what many of us do not realize is we actually lose nearly 12 cups of water every day. 2 cups through perspiration, 6 cups through urine, 2 to 4 through breathing, and nearly 1 cup through the feet of our souls. So if you're only drinking 8 ounce glasses of water every day, you're still coming up short, especially this time of year, especially if you're working outside. So just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, RO water is just that. It's been the minerals have been removed out of it, and it's very good, very clean water.
Another cool thing that Allison learned in the life book, and I want to share this with you. So on page 208, studies show many benefits of coffee due to its high level of antioxidants. They've proved that it decreases depression, reduces the risk of some cancers, and may help you live longer. It also may slow cognitive decline, boost mood, increase stamina, and even protect against adult diabetes. Now, what I found really interesting is I have been told my entire life that coffee and tea are diuretics. because of the caffeine. Coffee is a diuretic, makes you go to the bathroom more often, so it must dehydrate you. Well, not so. It turns out that the idea dates back to a 1928 study, and it wasn't exactly rigorous research. I cannot wait to hear about all the people who watched this and didn't get to this part in the life book and go, wait, what? Because while it is a diuretic, it doesn't necessarily dehydrate you. So now a recent study finds that coffee and caffeine in other drinks won't in fact cause dehydration. Now, of course, caffeine is a stimulant, and you want to, have a good, balanced, healthy relationship with that. And you will know, and you will see on this program, you get such great energy from burning the stored fats and using that for energy, that you are not going to have a reliance on caffeine. But it's good to know that, because I do love my cup of coffee in the morning, and it isn't because I need to wake up. It's just because I enjoy a cup of coffee. It's just my little morning routine. But to know that while it's a diuretic, it is not dehydrating me. It makes me feel good. So I know that it's not sabotaging what I'm doing with my water all day long. He says, pick which sources of hydration you're currently are going to add to make sure you're getting, your 64 plus ounces a day. And he does say 64 ounces over and over again. And I think it's because he wants us to have a bare minimum. But like Kenny said, you will find that going over and beyond that is really, really, really good, especially in the summertime when you're outside or, just in the heat. The opposite of the water, just going on, because we're drinking all this water, right? One of the habits of disease is consuming sugary sodas, fruit drinks, and the many sweet beverages out there with added sugar or syrups and concentrates. One of the things I took out of my diet that I used to drink fairly often was orange juice. And orange juice has a lot of sugars in it. It is a fruit juice, but a lot of fruit juice have added sugars. Or if you think about how many oranges it takes to make one glass, you'd have to eat like a bunch of oranges to get the amount of orange juice that it would take for one glass. So calorically and energy wise and sugar wise, that is a lot more orange than you would get if you were to just eat an orange. So now when I want an orange, I just eat an orange rather than drinking the juice. And I do that. And this is after 5 and 1. This is long-term, health and wellness. So, when I transitioned and I was at my healthy goal weight and I was bringing those things back into my life, I never did bring fruit juice back. I don't miss it. I enjoy just eating the fruit itself. And so that's just something, and it was amazing too. I used to drink a soda every day, and eliminating that from my life, I think, was one of the hugest contributors to feeling better, more stabilized insulin, all of that. And I don't miss it. And I did have a weak moment at one point on my 5-month journey where I wanted a Coke so bad, and I had it and I took a big swig and it tasted awful. Like, I didn't realize that I didn't like that anymore. So that's something you'll find too. That's a beautiful thing as you're drinking all this water and eliminating those sugary drinks. If your brain is telling you, oh, I miss that, I guarantee you, if you take a moment and you sip it later on down the line, it is not going to taste good. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but if you did, it's not going to taste good.
One thing that kind of struck me as I read this, and I thought about a little bit more. So in the beginning of the book, in the Habits of Health book, Dr. A talks about, which path do you want to take? Do you want to take this path to get healthy, or do you want to go back to a path of the habits of disease? So think of this. You've got a bottle of water here and you've got a Coke in the other hand. This will take you to that habit of health. This will take you to the habit of disease. But more importantly, with that soda, here again, water, we talk about it being a transport mechanism. It'll flush toxins out. It'll help, clear up your brain fog and all these things. It's a transport mechanism to clean out the toxins, refresh your body, and kind of get things going. Whereas if you have the soda, for example, it's also a transport mechanism, but the soda will take glucose or sugar and drive it into your fat cells. So do you want to go down that habit of health, or do you want to go down that habit of disease? And you got to look at all these options, because a lot of people, just like you said, Allison, fruit juice. I was a big orange juice drinker. I mean, I could kill a half gallon of orange juice in 2 mornings. And now I'm like, but when I have drank orange juice a couple times in the last year or two, I've noticed that even when I have 8 or 12 ounces, I just feel like I can just feel that I'm getting full.
Yeah.
And that is why, because it's driving that glucose into my cells. 1 gram of sugar, 3 grams of water, 4 grams of particles going into my body. So that's why you feel bloated. And so that was a really kind of an eye opener for me. And when I saw that, it made perfectly good sense now. And it's taken me 3 or 4 times through the book to realize that, but it does make perfectly good sense.
And then, of course, while we're talking about hydration and drinking water and all that good stuff, the other one that everybody always wants to talk about is alcohol. So let's just touch on that for a minute. So alcohol does a few things. One of the things is our body looks at alcohol like as a poison. So when we drink alcohol, digestion shuts down and our body focuses everything on processing the alcohol out. So when we shut down digestion, then what's not getting fed? The metabolism. So then it starts to go, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And then that switch gets flipped from its being in a fat, burning state to going back to a fat storage state. So we don't want to do that. So, that's one thing, that's one reason why we set alcohol to the side. Another reason is that alcoholic beverages create a diuretic response in a way that can aggravate dehydration. Unlike, caffeine, alcohol actually can aggravate that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. He says it's a good policy, and I think he means this moving forward, like how do you incorporate having the occasional drink, if in your lifelong healthy lifestyle. He says to have it and match each one of those with a glass of water. And that just helps keep it, it just flushes it through. Remember, we talked about flushing out the toxins. So it flushes it through, and again, like I said, I drink so much water, I'm not really a thirsty person anymore because I'm just always drinking water. So you'll also find that you will have less alcohol, and you won't, just one will be enough. So just think about that, as far as healthy hydration, the water helps flush those toxins out. So moving forward into lifelong health and wellness, and you'll work with your coach with this. That's how we kind of look at alcohol moving forwards.
One thing I want to bring to light too, I know he mentions in here about, using water infusers and so forth.
Oh yeah.
And he does bring up in here about using purposeful hydration. So that was a product that was available when the book came out. So it is no longer available. We do have infusers that are available for purchase. So they're on Optavia's website. Reach out to your coach on that. They do contain a little bit of caffeine. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, or just like the recommendation for coffee is, we shouldn't have anything with caffeine after 2 p.m. And that's going to start interfering with your sleep. So just know that. Get yourself into that habit, whether it's having the water with your fueling every day. But I think it's really important for those of us, and this is a habit that I've really made a habit. I try to get 40 to 48 ounces before 8 a.m. every morning. So I'm usually up 5:30 or 6, but I try to get 40 ounces in before 8, because that way, I used to be a big breakfast eater. So now I don't have that much for breakfast anymore. But one of the reasons is because I'm usually thirsty when I wake up, because I'm always a little bit behind the 8 ball on my water intake. Plus, it helps me with what I do with my work during the day. But if you're on 5 and 1, you've got to figure out a way to track it. So whether you're tracking it through your, you got alarm set, or you've got a pen and paper, or whatever you're using to track your water intake, or if you're using MyFitnessPal, for example, make sure you're tracking that water and make that a habit that's a non-negotiable, if you will. I think that's really important.
So, moving forwards, tracking your water intake, like Kenny said, if you're just starting program, going ahead and having water with every fueling, that's going to help you in so many ways, but it's getting it in there. it continues with that, getting into that habit of drinking it regularly throughout the day. You're going to find probably that you want to make sure you're getting 40 ounces in, like Kenny said, before noon. I know a lot of people, I for one would struggle with getting that much in before 8 a.m. But I do make myself drink 8 ounces before I have my cup of coffee in the morning. You think about it, you've been asleep, your body's been working all night while you're getting that good sleep to get everything ready to leave the body. So drinking that 8 ounces first thing in the morning just helps get everything on through. And just know this is truly one habit of health that is not hard to install. It's one that's not hard to do well. It's one that doesn't take any extra time out of your day. And once you get really going on it, your body will beg for it. And so it won't even be something you have to think about. You're going to think like, ooh, where's my water? I mean, it's just going to become a natural habit for you. So if you have any questions about this element, if this is something you want to work on, if this was a weak spot like it was for me, just reach out to your coach and they can help you come up with a great way to track it on the daily basis, make it fun. Sometimes in Optimal Awakenings, Carlene will do something fun like a water challenge. So, keep your eye out for that, or you can ask your coach if there's any good water challenges out there to kind of get you psyched about getting it in. But really, truly, this is one habit of health that is so easy to maintain moving forwards and makes a huge difference in how you feel and how your mind works and your energy level, and just making all your organs really happy all the time.
Absolutely. And guys, next week, we're going to dive into element 11. How do you eat healthy beyond fuelings? So that for some, especially those who are getting close to their goal weight, we're going to peel back that curtain on kind of what life is going to look like. So that for some, that's a scary territory, but no need to worry. You've got everything you need in this book to help you not only get to your goal, but beyond your goal, what life looks like after reaching that healthy goal. So you guys have a great week. I'll go ahead and stop recording.